ज़ारा हयात खां की गवाही और उनके साथ लाई हुई तस्वीरों और दस्तावेज को देखकर ये जाहिर होता है कि ये आदमी राजेश राठौर नहीं।
Thank you.
और वीर प्रताप सिंह ने एक पाकिस्तानी लड़की के दामन को बेदाग रखने के लिए उस इकबालनामे पर दस्तखत किए। स्क्वाड्रन लीडर वीर प्रताप सिंह, ये अदालत आपको बाइज्जत बरी करती है।
Ah, you lost the case. Yay. Oh my gosh.
That was so emotional.
आपको हक है कि आप सर उठाकर अपने वतन जा सकें।
Do you want to go back or do you want to stay here with her?
वो 22-23 साल
You've wasted 22 years of his life.
That's right.
पाकिस्तान और ये अदालत उसके लिए आपसे माफी चाहती है।
मैं कैदी नंबर 786 जेल की सलाखों से बाहर देखता हूँ। ये धूप मेरी माटी की ठंडी छास याद दिलाती है। ये सर्दी मेरी लोड़ी की आग सेक के जाती है। मैं कैदी नंबर 786 जेल की सलाखों से बाहर देखता हूँ। है बिल्कुल बेगानी पर अपनों से जिद वो करती, उसकी सच्ची बातों से फिर जीने को मन करता है। मेरे गांव के रंगों में लिपटी एक नई ज़ारा को देखता। वो कहते हैं मेरा देश उसका नहीं, फिर क्यों मेरे घर वो रहती। वो कहते हैं मैं उस जैसा नहीं, फिर क्यों वो जैसी वो लगती। कैदी नंबर 786 जेल की सलाखों से बाहर देख।
What an amazing monologue.
So good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
मैं हमेशा सोचता था कि हर मुल्क की तरक्की उसके कानून से जुड़ी होती है। इन दोनों मुल्कों की तकदीर तुम जैसे नौजवानों के हाथों में है, जो हर बात पर 1947, 65, 99 की कड़वी यादों पर नमक नहीं छिड़कते। तुम्हारे अब्बू को आज तुम पर बहुत नाज होता, बहुत नाज होता।
Yeah.
वीर ने ज़ारा को पाकिस्तान में खोया था, तो वीर और ज़ारा का मिलाप पाकिस्तान की जमीन पर ही होगा।
Aww.
चलो ज़ारा घर चले।
तेरे लिए हम हैं जी, बस तेरे लिए।
I thought that was Manoj Bajpayee as her fiance. I was like, what's that? God, his mom and dad are so good because like they were in the movie for literally like minutes, but their impact was so strong.
So strong.
Yeah.
Like truly, they were so important.
Yeah. That was wow. Amazing.
That was so like much. Oh,
Yeah. It was a lot. Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. You talk. I have thoughts, but like, go ahead.
I cry during movies, but I don't get like so emotional all
Yeah.
the time. And I feel like I haven't been that emotional where I'm like, am I going to start like bawling crying, like where I can't control it? Because there's so many things like the India, Pakistan, the differences
Yeah.
and like, you know, how it's caused by laws. And I think about it all the time with people who are imprisoned wrongfully. It's like just because it's law doesn't mean it's moral.
Yeah.
And that's why laws change and they progress. And so like on the other side, you think about prisoners who have been staying and rotting in jail wrongfully, and that like breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of it, it's like there's like this deep love that, you know, is like often forgotten nowadays, but it's so pure and like so special to think that they would both sacrifice their lives for each other.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my grandparents, actually. Like I could see them doing something similar to
Yeah.
that, and it's just like it's so like gut wrenching but beautiful, and like I guess that's what love is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, like it makes me really emotional. And not only that, but I think this film is like a great movie about love, but not just in the sense of like romantic love. It's like they disguised it in the Trojan horse of a romantic movie, but really it's about love in its greater concept. There were so many different levels of love going on in this movie. At the same time, there was like love for your family, love for your country, and love for your fellow human beings, and reminding us and reminding the audience that, you know, even though it's a forbidden love story between an Indian boy and a Pakistani girl, that really we're all people and we're all humans and we all have emotions, and one of those emotions that we have is love. And it really is like love conquers all, and it's a lovely sentiment. And it's also reminding us like, hey, we're all like brothers and sisters here, whether, you know, you're Indian or Pakistani, or whether, you know, we're on the other side of the world, like we can relate and we can all unite in this thing called love, which I think it's really, really wonderful.
That's so true. It's like there's so many different aspects of love that's not just romantic.
Yeah.
That pulls us. And like I keep thinking about when he's like, and she asked, would he give his life to you?
Yeah.
Would he sacrifice his life for you? And like so much of love is sacrifice. And then also just with the attorney, his defense attorney, it's like, and him, it's like every interaction you have with people, whether you think about it or not, can have a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like, and it seems like people, and they can be very stubborn and to their ways and even evil and manipulative, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. And like that's the thing. It's like you think all the effort goes to nowhere, but it does. Like it does affect people when you are pure and you're like trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, this movie definitely makes you feel like you want to believe in all these things again. It makes you feel like you want to be a better person. That's so lovely. And of course, like the romance between the two of them was just insane. It was intense. And the thing is, I think the reason why it really got me as well was because it was this love that just spanned time. It was just timeless. You know? Yeah.
And it's like, I kept thinking, you know, how am I gonna feel? I still don't feel okay the fact that he has 22 years in prison, because prison will do things to people that we can't even conceptualize.
Yeah.
But I was like, how are they gonna do this with ZAARA? You know, like how is she gonna be, what's her life look like? And even though I wished happiness on her, it still would have been like, I think if she found that out, she would want to like not be here anymore, you know what I like? To find out that the love of your life has been rotting in the expense of your name and your family's name. And then it was so masterful that, in like, what a tribute to him and to his family to go back to India and be with his mom and dad.
It was just like the way they orchestrated this story. I thought like the storytelling was just so good to kind of hook us in with this story starting from the present day where he's stuck in jail, and then immediately we're like, okay, but why? And then it just kind of unravels everything very gradually, and at every twist and turn you're like, is this the moment? Is this the moment where they get to be together? But no, they don't. You know, we just kind of go through this whole journey with him, and in the whole time that we're doing this, we get to fall in love with them as a couple as well, which was just genius. And then, like you said, having it be the way it ended up, where, you know, he was holding on to her honor, and meanwhile she was out there honoring his memory. It was just like a really beautiful way to like make the story work. Otherwise, you're right, we'd have too many issues, we'd have too many questions. And
because like, the mom and dad both gave their blessing, like his uncle and aunt, and they both like saw it through God, you know? And like, whether, no matter what religion you are, if you are religious, like there's a God. And so it's like, I would have been like so upset for the family, you know? It wouldn't have been her fault at all, but I just feel like this was so masterfully done. While it's like, it's heartbreaking still, like even though we got a happy ending, this is heartbreaking that they got 22 years away from each other. There is solace in the fact that when the prison guard was like, he's always been kind to other prisoners, so he's done good and been able to like give love even though he's in prison, while she's done the same there.
Yeah, and then also there's like the whole thing about, well, you know, if he had stayed on that bus, who knows, like he might not have survived, you know, he might have died as well. That thing might have, I mean, if you believe in destiny, right, which this movie very much believes in that.
In destiny,
so
yeah.
it's like, yeah, then he would have been destined to die on that bus. But, you know, for the lucky charm that her mom gave him, it saved his life, but he then had to spend 22 years in prison alive and then able to reunite with ZAARA, which I suppose if you want to look at the bright side is like they get to spend the rest of their lives together, which
and
is
they
really
met
sweet.
when they were young.
Yeah.
So like I'm doing the math and I'm hoping they're only like in their 40s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would give them quite a long time, hopefully together. And
Yeah.
she's built this school there, and it seems like the village has like really, really come about with like a lot of growth, and
Yeah.
so it's like a beautiful place to come home to.
I guess I wasn't really expecting the kind of feminist undertones in this as well, which was really cool, you know, just to kind of be like, hey, girls can do things too. We have Rani Mukherjee as his lawyer, and she's very capable. She wins the case. And then ZAARA going like, hey, you should make a school for girls too, because they deserve the same opportunities as boys. And so I thought that was a really nice message, considering this film like came out in 2004.
Yeah.
It's like 18 years old now. you know?
Definitely. I think it showed a lot of weakness of men in some sense, like not men aren't weak as a whole, but in terms of what society places on men, the father almost died because the daughter was in love with someone else.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? And then the mom had to hold down the fort. And
Yeah.
had to go to him and speak to him because she had to be the strong one. And like there's this sense of the strength of the women that are holding the families together,
Yeah.
and the pressure of it, and then also the idea of marriage as a means of personal political gains, or just in times of where you have set engagements with one another. It's
Yeah.
like cultural, and it's like you're missing love then, and it's almost like love isn't allowed, and that's
Yeah.
so sad.
It is really sad, but I mean that's been the thing throughout history, throughout time, right? Like marriages were often more about alliances than they were about love, and it's only really been in, I don't know, the past few hundred years maybe that this idea of a love marriage has really become the norm. But what I thought was really cool in this movie, and in a lot of Indian movies I think, which is different for us coming at it as foreigners, is this notion of people being really true to their families and being true to duty and responsibility. Because watching that scene where they could have run away together, but then they chose to fulfill the wishes of her family and to preserve her honor and everything like that, I was thinking, you know, if this was an American movie or an English movie, any Western movie, it would have been like, screw everyone else, our love is the most important and we're gonna run away together. But the reality is that's not always the case, you know, like, and I thought it was really cool what he said about how they were just so preoccupied with their love with each other that he didn't even realize that there were other people that their love might harm. And I thought that was a really interesting sentiment, and something that I don't think you would see as often in a movie from the West.
I think that's totally accurate. Like, it's our instinct to be like love first
Yeah.
in Western films and society. And like the other scene that I think broke us too was with him and Zara's mother.
Yeah.
And like you could see that, you know, there's consequences to choices that we make. And while I think I've come to this conclusion, like, love is everything, but it's also not enough, you know, like,
Right, yeah.
like you can really love someone and it doesn't mean that you're supposed to be with them right now.
That's true,
like,
yeah.
I've been in love with people, or one person, where it's like it wasn't the right situation, it wasn't enough, and it like showed me a really big lesson that it's everything, but it's also not everything.
Yeah.
Like, you have your family and there's other forms of life and duty that are involved, but in my heart it's like they should end up together somehow. somehow.
Yeah. And then they did.
Yeah.
And they did. So like we got our happy ending, even though it was pretty bittersweet.
Oh my god.
But
The monologue at the end was so good.
So good. My actor brain switched on when he was doing that monologue because I was just like, whoa, that's a long monologue and it's really big, it's really emotional, and he totally like nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, he said things I didn't think he was going to say. I thought it was going to be all about ZAARA.
Yeah.
Like, to our point where we think it's all about the love between them, but it's not. It's about everything that's involved. The country, the people, the laws, her, his lawyer, everything. So it was so beautiful. Oh.
Yeah. And like this whole movie, I feel like, you know, we'd be remiss to not talk about just how beautiful this movie was just as a whole. The cinematography, the shots that they used, the music.
The music was great.
Yeah. I felt like a lot of the time I started crying or felt like I was gonna cry just because of the strings. I was like, oh, here it goes. Here it goes.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to dance too. But it did a great job of, which I've been noticing with a lot of the films that we've been watching, is like depicting, because India and Pakistan, especially India, is so large. There's so many different micro cultures involved. And like, it's, for me, such a pleasure to be able to see some of the actions that they do within the rituals within the culture, like with weddings or love or proposals, whatever it may be. It's like, it's so, we don't have that really. We have like grand gestures, but it's not as intertwined with culture.
Yeah, it is really cool. And I guess in a way, this also feels like a love story to India and maybe Pakistan as well, you know, like just showing you, like showcasing all of the most beautiful parts and showing it with love.
Like how the prosecutor at the end, which I really liked, he was like, you've shown me this, like you're the youth.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times, and we see it now in America, I really believe in the youth, and I like feel like the youth is going to show us our way out, because we're like living in a very divided time in America. And I feel that same sentiment where it's like the older generation, a lot of them think they're doing the right thing, but they don't understand that they're tied to these old barriers that are keeping us apart rather than together.
Yeah, that was also a really nice sentiment of like, yeah, you're our future, and like we got to think about new ways and let go of all of these things that are hampering us. So many great messages in this movie. Oh my god, I thought we were just in for like your, you know, I was fully expecting to get emotional, but I wasn't expecting to get hit with a lot of amazing messages as well.
The depth in the love story, it's like Notebook on crack. Like, it was like, I was like, what? Like, I don't know. I haven't seen a romantic story that deep in a long time.
Yeah, this was amazing, you guys. Thank you so much for the suggestion. I hope you guys enjoyed going on this epic journey with us, and we will catch you soon. Let us know what movie you think we should watch next, and yeah, we'll see you soon. I'm ACHARA KIRK. This is
STEPH SABRAW.
Ciao!